Oh boy, here's another paisan from the East Coast originally. This man is another guy that always brings a smile on my face when I get a chance to see him. And man, when I started in radio in 1983, my first year out of high school, doing a metal show. Before there was anything really known as a metal show, there may have been like one or two other ones anywhere in the country. Nobody even really knew what a metal show was on the radio. And one of the ways that I was lucky enough to convince, I was working in a record store across the street from my hometown radio station, and I kept saying to the program director who would come in and buy records, hey man, I'm selling all these incredible metal records and you're not playing them. And you have to let me come on your radio show or radio station and do a show to play this music, this metal music. It's happening. And he would just brush me off, and he wouldn't give me the time of day about it. I had no experience in radio. I was just some dopey kid, right? But I kept working on him. And finally, what helped convince him, if you think about the year 1983, right? And some of the metal albums that came out at that time, whether they be hard rock or metal albums, gotta remember, before these bands broke, okay? This was just when these bands came out or were just starting. But you had the first Metallica record, you had early Def Leppard, High and Dry, Pyromania era before it blew up for them. And what really put it over the top, that this guy said, okay, you can come up and play some of this music, because at the time, they didn't know how to deal with it on the radio, was this album by this band called Quiet Riot and the album Metal Health. Because we were selling boatloads of it in the record store, but at that time, you know, the metal fans were buying it, but it hadn't crossed over, it hadn't blown up with Come On Feel the Noise and all of that on MTV. But because he would come in and he would see people coming in and buying it, he finally said to me, okay, go ahead and do it. And one of my earliest memories ever in radio of ever doing interviews was with the guys in Quiet Riot back then, back in those days. And I'm happy to say that, you know, whether it be his work with Quiet Riot, which he's still flying the flag big time and going out there and doing shows and honoring the memory of the late, great Kevin DuBrow by playing some of the great songs that Kevin left us with. And of course, a great documentary that came out just recently about Quiet Riot that made so much great noise around the world. Still another guy as a drummer. We talked about Carmine and Vinny. Maybe it's East Coast, maybe it's Italian, I don't know what it is, but you guys got the fountain of youth as far as still playing and still playing great. And Frankie certainly has that as well. Frankie Banali.